Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time of day you're watching. Thank you for joining me. As you already noticed from the title today, it is Maintenance Monday, and the maintenance needed for today is an oil change on my 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This is the second oil change that I've done on this Jeep. If you would like to see my failed first one, that video is right up there. With my first oil change, my oil life was at about 20%, and as you can see this time, I'm at 2% with the dash yelling at me to change oil soon. I can see you loud and clear. Thank you. Now, how the oil life system works is based on engine operating conditions, meaning you have either driven 10,000 miles, you haven't left your house for 12 months, or you've waited in the drive-thru of insert your favorite restaurant here for 350 hours. So, whichever of those conditions are met first is when you will see the oil change required message on your dash. Don't worry, this is really simple and easy to do. So, start your Jeep, let it run for a minute or two just to warm up the oil. Pop open your hood or bonnet. Make sure, in fact, you have an engine. Do you have an engine? Okay, great. Let's keep going. If you have a V6, you'll have this little cover. Take it off, set it aside. Next, you're going to struggle a little bit to take off this big cover. Don't worry, it's not that difficult. Now, your oil cap will show you what oil grade is needed. Get that oil grade, nothing else. To take off your oil filter cap, you'll need a ratchet, a small extension, I'm not using one here, a universal swivel, and a 15/16 6-point socket. Sometimes it'll be stiff to take off initially, but once you kind of cranked it off, it'll unscrew and come right out. Okay, let's talk oil filters for a second. I'm going to keep it simple with this one. Just use a good quality filter from whatever brand you prefer. The one I'm using is from Fram. It's their fancy ultra synthetic version rated for 20,000 miles. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not sponsored, I'm just a guy that wanted to try out a different filter. But just so you know, I don't plan on running it that long. Usually what that means is that it can hold a lot more dirt than your standard filter. And my family and I off-road a lot, so I see it being useful. If you're interested in running this filter for your Jeep, I'll have a link down below in the description for it and everything else that I have mentioned that you would like to purchase if you would like to do this. Alright, you got the cap off. Now get rid of that old, used, and abused filter. It has done its job, unlike some people that we all know and love, right? So, right here I'm using a little bit of the old oil to lube up the outer O-ring, the inner O-ring, plus the one on the filter itself. The reason for this is to create a good seal, and it makes it easier to remove next time you do this job. When you go to put in your fresh new filter, tighten it down with your hand first, as far as you can, then use the ratchet. I'm warning you now, do not over tighten the oil filter cap. You will do damage to the oil cooler if you are not careful. Those oil coolers for the Pentastar V6 are on national back order, so if you damage it, you're going to be waiting a few months for a new one. Just tighten it down until it stops, and that's it. Okay, let's get underneath the Jeep. If you're lifted or you have the air suspension set to the highest setting, then you'll be fine. But if you want more room or you don't have either of the things that I just mentioned, then you're gonna need some ramps to give you the space that you want. I will link a good set down in the description if you want them. Now, at this point, you're gonna need your ratchet again and a 17mm 6-point socket to take off that drain plug. This is where it might get messy or it might not, just depends on the day. We're going to be draining all that old, used, and abused oil. What I'm using to catch all the oil is a Garage Boss GB150. It holds 12 quarts of oil and it comes with its own adjustable funnel that you screw on to change the height of it, and you guessed it, it will be linked in the description below as well. So while you watch this oil drain, what do you think of this type of video? I have a couple more like this already planned, but let me know with either a comment, a thumbs up, or by subscribing to the channel. It would really help me out, and I'd like to hear your opinion. Well, since this oil is still draining, let me tell you about today's video sponsor. It's me, myself, and Irene. Wait, that's a movie. Never mind, I don't have a sponsor. You can't tell on camera, but my oil still has an amberish color to it, so it's not solid black yet, meaning it still had a little bit of life left. But I gotta listen to my yelling dash because it's not gonna stop. When you replace your drain plug, make sure you took off that old crush washer and you put a new one on. As you begin to tighten it down, do not overdo it. You only need enough to crush the washer and not to strip out your oil pan and ruin that as well. Alrighty then, with all of that done and over with, you can now go topside. Put your funnel into the hole. Mine just happens to be the shape of a milk jug. Don't judge me, this is all I have. Okay, grab your oil from whatever brand you like using. I'm using 5.9 quarts of Rotella gas truck. It's a heavy-duty full synthetic oil meant for hauling, towing, off-roading, and for extremely hot temperatures. Lucky enough for me, I do 2 of those 4 things, and I do them at the same time. Off-roading in the middle of the desert here in Las Vegas. Right, let's talk about oil change intervals real quick. When should you change your oil? 3,000, 5,000, 7,500, or 10,000 miles? Well, it differs from vehicle to vehicle and how that vehicle is programmed and how it is used on a daily basis, just like how I mentioned at the beginning of this. Full synthetic oils are by far more advanced than their dyno brothers and sisters. So personally, I would just go off the oil life indicator. The car's computer accounts for everything and it tells you when it is time. But you're welcome to do as you wish. Now let's put all those plastic pieces back on, especially the oil cap. Do not forget the oil cap. Then get the Jeep off of the ramps onto level ground so we can check the oil level using the dipstick on the passenger side. So when you check the dipstick, you want the oil right in between those 2 dots. What you don't want is to be all the way at the top. Oil needs room to expand as it gets hot. If you're in between, then you have poured the perfect amount. Great job. Last thing is the satisfying and rewarding part. That is resetting the oil life indicator. Turn your Jeep into the run position. Do not start it. Then hold the OK button on the steering wheel until it resets. And that's it. You're done. Thanks for watching.